Now please welcome our second commencement speaker, Sarika Ramalingam.
Hi. As a young girl, I never could fully grasp the concept of a life lived to do one thing, to fall under one overarching archetype, to be one singular genre of person. When people asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, the answers spilled out of my mouth, words overflowing, tongue stumbling, each syllable playing leapfrog as I rushed to get everything in my mind out into the open. Astronaut, marine biologist, veterinarian, human rights activist, lawyer, firefighter, president, chemist, race car driver, garbage collector, ballerina, soccer player, actor, spy. This would be my legacy. 100 lives lived in the span of one lifetime. 100 things accomplished, something they never thought one person could do. I wanted to reach deep down through the soil of this earth, to grab at its roots and to shake the hand of the world. I would change it. I was going to change it, and I was 5 years old, and I didn't know how, but somehow I was going to change it. I read a lot of books as a kid, I still do. I was hungry for stories, the tools of my research, and my parents, light-filled, incredibly supportive beings that they are, fueled my love for reading. I downed books like a high school student who has not begun page 1 of the 7-page paper due the next day on the incredibly complex 19th century foreign novel that they have not read, downs coffee as they attempt to pull the inevitable all-nighter. Stealing from Maddie Park, shout out to Miss Spicer, I'm so sorry. In other words, I read with a kind of voracious, almost panic desperation, for I became convinced that the grand adventure awaited all on their journey through life. I would receive a visit in the middle of the night from a slightly plump, spectacularly mustached, kindly old man in a hot air balloon who would then whisk me off to a city in the sky. Some species of winged bird would drop a letter from a mysterious boarding school through my chimney at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, saying that I was of magical descent. Slowly, however, as I grew up, and people's questions began to change from, so what do you want to be when you grow up, to, so what are you going to do with your life? And my response, however slightly edited and compressed, remained a conglomerate: actor, writer, filmmaker, human rights worker, economist, policymaker. So did people's reactions to my response change. You are too cute. Do you know what? Your ambitious little imagination is going to get you far. This little girl is going places. So undecided. No! Actor, writer, filmmaker, human rights worker, economist, policymaker. Undecided. How utterly damning. There is a tugging at the gut, a tiny pit of black pressure and sudden shift in expectation that leaves you yawning to release your ears of their clogged feeling. I don't want to fail. 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 I cannot fail. I have to choose one now. But what if it is the wrong choice? What if I fail? We are afraid that what we want in life is not realistic enough. We are afraid that we don't know for sure what we want. The other day, as my 14-year-old sisters and I were sitting on the stairs together, brewing the return of school after spring break, my sister turned to me and said, Sarika, sometimes, I just think I'm kind of insecure. And as I turned to face her, ready with the phrases and cliches that have been echoed back to me my entire life, I stopped and began to think. Why is it that a need for validation is considered a strip down of our mental capability, our spiritual strength? I think that we have been bred to too easily replace what is really vulnerability with what we are quick to call insecurity. And there is an important distinction to be made. For while this transitionary process from high school has had its rewards and its joy, it has also been bound in heartbreak. Heartbreak through rejection, as my friends and I banded together in college support group chats. Heartbreak through fear, paralyzing, clutching fear, that even if we reassured ourselves that in the end everything was going to turn out okay, what about the now? What about if, in the now, we ended up disappointing the people we loved? And even if everything has turned out okay in the end, I think it is important to acknowledge that this happened. And maybe that's just life. But even so, I have another sister. She's the first sister's twin, and as we were having this conversation, she proceeded to turn around and say, well, that's just why I don't care what anybody thinks. You just have to not care and take that with you through life. And I stopped and I thought about that. But I don't think that's the right approach either. Such a life seems very lonesome, unaffected by the lives of others around it. It is okay to want to look to the people around us for consequences of the actions we take. It is okay to question our motives, our moves, okay to ask for validation. It means, above all, that we care. We care how we leave our imprint on this world. We care that we become better people, that we learn to speak with our hearts. I would like to think that the person who may require validation, but does not inherently expect it, and gives selflessly anyway, is perhaps the most loved. You can have respect without love, but love without respect, I think, is nothing but a sham. And I, for one, I choose love every single time. So take pride in your humanity, in your identity, in who you are. You are not insecure, you are simply human. You only become insecure once you give in to the voices telling you that you are. We do not get to choose the answers that we receive in this world, but we get to choose how we move forward. We get to choose the questions, and we get to be the people who ask. Sometimes we are even the ones giving other people the answers, and that can be terrifying in itself, because we don't even always know if we have the right ones. We are taught that being brave means living life without fear, but I would like to think that being brave means living life in spite of fear. So, my fellow graduates, my beautiful, brilliant, unique, vibrant-minded fellow people of the class of 2018, as we step out into this world, jump, write, sing, pursue your incredibly multifaceted astronaut, marine biologist, veterinarian, human rights activist, lawyer, firefighter, president, chemist, race car driver, garbage collector, ballerina, soccer player, actor, spy careers. Do your very best and do it at what you unequivocally, passionately love. Because the billions of trillions of possible outcomes that culminated throughout the entire history of the human race were made exactly as they were so that you could be here, exactly as you are, loving exactly what you love and doing exactly what it is that you do. I am so proud to call you my fellow graduates, and as we begin to walk this earth on our own, I cannot wait to see the incredible trails of light you leave behind in your wake. Congratulations, we made it, and this is just the beginning.